My name is Jessica Flowers, and I'm doing this video for Warner Pacific on active listening. This is Andrea Hood, and she has an issue that she wants me to listen to. So, I noticed that you've been really distracted lately. How's everything going? It seems like it has something to do with work.
Well, thank you for asking, Jessica. I have been having some issues at work.
Sorry. Okay.
Work, well, you know, work is really challenging always, but it's been especially challenging lately with some of my staff.
Yeah.
He has expressed mental health issues in the past, that he possibly had suicidal ideation, and he's just this young kid that when I hired him, he was homeless, and he had like hitchhiked from Bend just for the job interview, and he got himself into a shelter. But you know, once I hired him and he started, I found out that he was in a shelter that didn't have showers, and that they had to leave every morning early in the morning and couldn't come back until nighttime.
Wow.
And I had, so you know, we were able to problem solve and get him into a better shelter.
That's nice.
That, you know, it was a more transitional type shelter. And then from there, he's, you know, just flourished at work. Like he's got, you know, our team has become like family for him. And he got his own place not too long ago. And he's just really, you know, flourished at work. And then about a month ago, one of his coworkers came and told me that they thought he was struggling with some mental health issues, and which was hard for me to understand, because he's like this bright kid with this future, you know, he's pulling his life together. Right. And
and you're his direct supervisor.
Yeah, I'm his direct supervisor. So you know, we talked, and you know, we talked about, you know, some things he could do, access the EAP program, and getting him connected with maybe our Kaiser coverage, getting, you know, into some therapy. I knew he didn't have a lot of money, so we did some problem solving around that. And then, you know, I've been checking in with him periodically. But then this week, he has changed a bit, and once again, the same coworker came and said, like, no, it's serious. And I'm like, right. And I didn't really like know what that meant. So I kind of let it go yesterday. I emailed HR, like, what do I need to do around this, and how far, like, where my boundaries lie, like, what is our liability, like, all that. And then she told me that I should definitely have this hard conversation with him. Although keeping in mind that I'm not a mental health therapist, I am not a counselor, I am just a manager.
But you're support.
Right. And so, you know, my difficulties, like, figuring out what that support looks like. So anyway, today I had this, you know, I initiated this conversation. And at first he, you know, just didn't want to tell me. And I'm like, hey, you're lying to me. I know something's wrong, you know. And we kind of joke, like, I talk to him kind of like a younger person, you know, so he can hear me. And he, anyway, I pulled it out of him that he is having very strong desire to die and to terminate his life.
That must have been really hard to hear.
It was very hard to hear.
Especially somebody you care about.
Yeah, and so I didn't, you know, like, I had to just tell him, like, hey, I don't know what to do with this. This is really hard. Like, so, but I knew, like, I needed to find out how serious his plan was, and through pulling information out of him, he's got a very specific, very serious plan that he told me he intends to carry out after payday on Friday. He wanted to take Friday off, and I told him, like, you can't take Friday off to go isolate and end your life. Like, this isn't, you know. And so, thank goodness I work in a facility with mental health and behavioral health and
support.
And so I got some coaching around how to address it with him. But it shook me up. Like, I didn't mean to, like, kind of have a meltdown, but I did.
Sounds like it was really hard to hear.
Yeah, on top of, I have our development team and everybody, like, saying, I need these reports right now.
Right.
Or we're going to lose $1.25 million if these aren't provided. And they just asked me this morning. So anyway, I had a very frustrating day, and it was really hard. So I, yeah.
Wow. So that's probably the main reason why you've been distracted, because you're focused on somebody that's getting ready to end their life and all the pressure at work. So it's just been a ton of emotionally draining stuff going on.
Right. And I feel like I'm pulled in multiple directions, and I just want to be able to do one thing, not 12 things.
Yeah.
So
That sounds really hard. So, with everything that you just told me and me listening to you, how do you feel? How did you feel the way I listened to you?
I think you did a really good job of listening and not interjecting what you thought I was going to say, or what or asking too many questions, just kind of letting me ramble and just get it out, which I think is a really important part of being an attentive listener. Is not is showing, you showed awareness, and you showed that you were following me, but you did not insert your own stuff into the conversation. Like, frequently people are like, oh, I had that same experience, or oh, this or this, or oh, like, this is how I dealt with it. You did really well of not doing that.
Right.
That made me feel heard and understood and able to.
Well, that's good. I appreciate you sharing all that with me. And as an active listener, one thing that I do struggle with is actually interrupting or trying to perceive what somebody's going to say before they even finish the sentence. And also, as she mentioned, wanting to relate. So maybe interjecting my own thoughts or experiences. So it did feel like with knowing I'm not going to interrupt or interject, that I was actually able to focus a little bit more on what she was saying and internalize it and really pay attention and empathize a lot more, because I wasn't so focused on what my reaction or response would be. So that's my video for active listening.